There's this idea that if someone is ethnically Chinese, they can't be loyal to Canada or be working in Canada's best interests. And those are the comments that Michael Ma is getting here when he decided to defend China when he was being accused that, hey, China does forced labor and how can you support China? I decided to defend him because I've been seeing this type of behavior for a long time, but now it's becoming more mainstream and we're able to see both sides of the argument more and more. Whereas in 2019, you couldn't really present China's side of the argument without being smashed down by the algorithm. So I says to Mabel, I shared this video clip of this AI-powered denim factory making denim from Abaca Bananas in China. And people start flaming me with comments. Oh, Larry, you are a Chinese bot. Something I've heard before many, many times. Funny story, one time I was playing Amazon's game New World when it was really popular. And I said in the global chat, Taiwan's not a country. The official name is the Republic of China. The next day I woke up and found myself banned. Probably got too many reports. Speedy here is upset with me. And, maybe he's upset because how dare you defend the treatment of the Uyghurs in China? Don't you know there's a genocide? It might be hard to believe that human rights organizations might be providing misinformation about Xinjiang, but it's entirely possible. These groups are desperately in need of funding. I used to work for Amnesty International when I was younger. So when you look at an article like this from AP News that talks about the UN accusing Beijing of mistreatment of Uyghurs, first they say it's a genocide, then they say it's a cultural genocide. And the sourcing is from people like Adrian Zenz, and it's all just very poor. Speaking of the UN, here the UN admits that the East Turkmenistan terrorists in Xinjiang are in fact dangerous. The Uyghurs you see on media talking about being oppressed, I'm sorry to say, and I'm carefully saying this, they might be paid crisis actors. Because if you look at the Uyghurs living in Xinjiang, their script is preserved. They have a good way of life. Many Uyghurs are top Chinese celebrities. Uyghur superficial appearances are praised in China. They like the way the Uyghur noses look. Chinese people often say our noses look bad. They're flat. Lastly, there was this piece of evidence produced that went viral for a bit on the internet. It was this red handbook claiming to be the Uyghur prisoner treatment handbook. And it was in Chinese, and people were saying, this is clear evidence that the Chinese are doing very bad things to the Uyghurs. But then, Chinese is a contextual language, and certain words can be paired together and give true meaning. Dedicated truth seekers went over the report and found that the handbook was full of mistakes, simple language mistakes that Chinese speakers would never make. And then things like the police badge image, the logos, they were inaccurate, looks like Photoshop or manipulation. And this goes back to my point. They put in a lot of effort to make you think China is as evil as possible. Oftentimes people will run the sources I provide into AI, the English sources defending China. And the AI will say, this article is biased, it's defending China's actions, it uses Chinese government sources. But if you look at a Western article talking about a narrative, the same flaws, I'm saying with quotation marks, the same flaws are apparent. The Western articles uses Western government sources. The Western article uses clever language to sanitize the issue. So I totally admit that it is possible the Chinese government is sweeping bad atrocities under the rug. But if you compare the Chinese information with the English information, it really does not become cut and dry. You see that this is a complicated issue. There was terrorism, and there needed to be effective change. Lastly, I will leave you with this clip from China. These are the Hui Muslims, spelled Hui, another Muslim group in China, different from the Uyghurs. China does not have a problem with religion. China has a problem with fanatics, zealots, people who commit violence in the name of religion. I think everyone has a problem with that. As a Buddhist myself, I have a problem with that. We do not commit violence in the name of the divine, or the spiritual, or the unseen. One of the most hilarious things in Chinese reports is that the media often acts as if it knows China's emotional state. Beijing is mad. Xi Jinping is mad. Xi Jinping is sad. Xi Jinping is vexed. And this is such a clear sign that this is propaganda. Heavy emotional language. It's basically entertainment. Have you heard the expression that politics is the entertainment arm of the military industrial complex? Politics is entertainment for ugly people? Well, now you have. I hope you have a great day.